Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So, as you can tell, we'll be talking about the winter storm. There's our last one out of the series out of 3, but this one is definitely an impactful one, could be impacting the most amount of people, and is a powerful system bringing lots of heavy snow. Before we get into talking about this, if you guys like weather-related content, anything about the weather, consider subscribing. That's what this channel is about. That would be awesome. And if you are a returning viewer, liking the video is always so highly welcome. So thank you so much. Before we do quickly, I just want to ask one question. I was wondering whether or not to make merchandise for this channel, like a t-shirt, maybe like a sweatshirt, like a cool little logo. This would still probably take a while. This wouldn't be imminent. But if you would be interested in buying it, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd want an actual estimate of how many people would like it. So let's get into this. Right now we're looking at the GFS parallel, and I actually don't want to look at the GFS parallel because this model isn't even in, it's not updated. Let's take a look at the GFS. And the GFS right now, you can see we have a large storm pulling away from the eastern United States, and notice there's still a lot of stuff going on. Bit of snow across the north, but there's many of the thunderstorms and sorry about that, but many thunderstorms and thunder shower activity across the Ohio Valley and into even as far south as the south. Louisiana seeing some showers, storms. It's just this general cold front, lots of showers and storms. These are actually pretty strong thunderstorms. We had a few over the last few nights. Last night was pretty bad. This past night we got a large thunderstorm, several of them in the morning. They dumped so much rain, very strong rates of rainfall, a bit of wind as well, and that is still affecting those locations. But it moves out into Canada, Quebec, Ontario, see quite a good dose of snow to say the least, and then the front basically splits apart. But obviously this is where this is attention shift to this system. So we already have snow occurring across Idaho, Washington, and western Montana as of recording this video late, mid-afternoon Friday. And as we push this into time, notice that by early Saturday morning, it starts entering Yellowstone to Grand Tetons, further across Idaho into the central sections of Idaho. A little bit of Oregon gets in on some of this action. Unfortunately for Oregon, a lot of this activity may miss you, if you will. There may be a bit of activity that goes right over your area in the northeastern locations, but a lot of south and southwestern Oregon and southeastern Oregon don't really see much, and that's the same case with southwestern Idaho. But a lot of Wyoming, eastern Idaho, southern Montana, basically all of Montana, excluding the extreme portions of the northeastern Montana, get a lot of snow. And this is now Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, so this thing does sit around for quite a while. I wouldn't say it's slow moving, but I wouldn't say it's the fastest storm ever. And notice Wyoming, southern Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, maybe Salt Lake seeing some snow showers out of this, depending on which model you look at. The models are showing some differences, but generally they are in pretty good agreement. So that's definitely good information to have. Notice that we see South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Colorado. I may have called, I don't know if I just messed up my states there, but if I did, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas seeing some snow, and really across these locations into the plains, it starts shifting from the mountains early Sunday morning. That's when it kind of starts initiating. But across further north and closer to the mountains, it could begin as early as tomorrow in the afternoon. That moves to the south. Some pretty decent snowfall rates with this, but it is kind of moisture starved. You can see it's kind of landlocked, if you will. There's no moisture flow for this system, but you can see that the rain does stretch almost into southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. And at this point, late Sunday, early Monday, it looks as if it's almost fallen apart, this snow system. Still having snowing heavily across the mountains in Colorado, but we see a little bit of the snow push out into Canada. Notice we get a little nice band of precipitation right here across southeastern Canada. Quite a bit of snow actually out of a measly little area. But notice that this snow continues pushing to the south, and it does so pretty rapidly. This is now Monday morning. We see Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado still seeing a bit of that snowfall. And again, the exact details of the timing and start are usually the most problematic, as the slightest shift in track, let alone maybe the pattern, could throw this off by a few hours. But generally Monday morning, this is what it will look like, 7 o'clock in the morning, getting ready for work or whatever it may be. Notice a bit of rain to the south, but a lot of this transitions according to the GFS with some ice, freezing rain, and snow to the north. Oklahoma City, if you live there, I would expect a chance for some wintry precipitation, ice, maybe a bit of snow. I wouldn't say it's I wouldn't say the heavy snow amounts include your area. They're going to be a bit further to the north, but notice Missouri, pretty far into Missouri, even Columbia, seeing that rain, snow, even some moderate snow. The southwest, New Mexico, seeing some precipitation, but notice that the snow dwindles. We have the rain continuing, and it kind of goes out in little waves. We have another wave that separates, but we have it in one piece that stays, produces snow across southern New Mexico into early Tuesday afternoon, a bit of ice possible in the overnight hours from Monday to Tuesday. So that's just dangerous by itself because of how the ice usually impacts driving even more than snow, and especially since it's further to the south at an unusual time of the year. We'll have to see. Hopefully the GFS is wrong. But notice after that, really, it just kind of dwindles. And what we see is that we get tropical moisture working in with this system. And then that possibly makes a re-strengthening of a storm and delivers some precip. There's still a lot of confusion about this because if you look at this, we have a storm system right around here next week, Friday. If you look at one model prior, GFS, look at that. It was much, much further to the north, and actually it produced a snow system. And as of now, it really doesn't do that. So we'll have to see. Again, change is going to happen. That's what the weather is. But generally, I would say I'm pretty confident in the fact that after the storm dies off midweek next week, very, very pleasant conditions in terms of not much precipitation. The cold air will definitely moderate. It will be more on the warmer side. The northern U.S. will still see a bit of chilly weather for sure, but you can see the south seeing some rain. Other than that, I mean, it's almost precip free, which is nice. Into October, I don't know, trick-or-treating's for most locations canceled, but if it were to occur, it's actually kind of a shame looking at this forecast. This is one of the nicest Halloween forecasts you could possibly have. I mean, look at this, 18Z, October 31st. I know that there'll still be parties and stuff like that. Obviously, despite what's going on, people still do get out at a much less level, but bars, restaurants may be open across certain cities, certain locations. So your day on October, Saturday, looks, just absolutely gorgeous. Look at this. This is a daytime high. While it's no balmy weather, across Minnesota, it's still relatively chilly. It could be much worse like it would be during the weekend. I mean, you could see that this is what it was during Wednesday, much cooler. This is what the daytime highs look Tuesday, much below zero. So for Halloween, it actually might look absolutely fabulous. And during the night, it does get chilly. Northeast, the Midwest, the Northern Plains, but really not too cold compared to the average. A bit chillier, though. And let's just push this into the long range and see what the GFS does. A little bout of cold air, some precip, but generally keeps the precip free for the most part. So take that as a good or a bad thing, but that's what the models are trending it towards. Let's take a look at the European model and its position on this upcoming snow system. Before we do that, let me go back. Sorry about this jumping around. I want to show you the total snowfall accumulations through this. So notice this only goes out to 48 hours, so not even close to the whole system, but the Midwest, or the Northwest, Idaho, Montana, that green right there is a foot plus. So generally a decent amounts of snow for this time of the year, especially into Nebraska, maybe up to 6-7 inches. That is most definitely impressive. Let's just go back to the other model run, since not much has changed, and see what it shows. You can see, shows quite a bit across these locations. This right here will most likely fall as ice, so don't expect a foot of snow in Oklahoma. Probably maybe a coating of ice, since this GFS always gets mixed up with the icing. That's like its biggest flaw. And I remember when I was young and didn't really know that, a few years back, I always looked at this, I was like, wow, so much snow, but most of this will be, it's kind of like a glitch. The GFS counts it as snow on a snowfall map, even though it won't be falling as snow. And it kind of translates the precip that fell into the snowfall ratio. But this right here may be a bit more accurate. Maybe 6-7 inches, not out of the question. So definitely an interesting, powerful system, bringing pretty heavy snow to many locations, but not as widespread as this GFS model shows. Looking at the European model, we see generally the same thing. The system pulling away right now, dumping lots of snow into Quebec and into Labrador, Newfoundland. Then again, we have our new storm pushing right now into the northwest, Washington, Idaho, Montana, seeing the snow. This is late today, early Saturday at this point. Some heavy snow rates going on. Yellowstone seeing some snow. Grand Tetons moving out into the plains by tomorrow at around 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This continues spreading to the south, and we get a bit of rain working in with this into Saturday throughout the night, morning, and the afternoon. Again, this snow spreads pretty far to the east and south. Southern Wisconsin may be getting it in on this. Iowa. Monday, this is now this is now late Tuesday, early Monday. Notice that the European actually includes quite a bit of snow. It definitely increased itself. The European definitely went on the more aggressive route for the past few days. And you could see Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, Wyoming, Colorado, Wyoming, New Mexico, to Arizona, seeing those decent snowfall rates. And then we see quite a bit of rain as well, so that's definitely going to be a concern, especially since this system may become stationary for a bit. So a lot of this rain may fall over similar locations. And these locations did get some rain with the previous systems. I don't know exactly how much because, to be honest with you, it varies. I know that my location got a ton, but then you go 50 miles to the north and they got a significant less amount. And then you go another 100 miles across northeastern Iowa, southwestern Wisconsin, they got a ton of rain yesterday, and it just varies with these systems. But if you live across the Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Texas, and you've seen a lot of rain or are wet, consider taking a closer watch to this weather, since a lot of more rain is coming in. Notice a bit of mixing maybe into northern Illinois Monday afternoon. Lots of rain spreading. We see that snow a bit across southern Canada. This then spreads into New Mexico, Texas, and after that you can see that a lot of this is falling as snow. Some as this would be freezing rain, so that's definitely for the worse. And after that, again, the system kind of dwindles. It's continues producing snow across these locations, which will be interesting to see if that happens, because if it does, that will lead to some pretty large amounts. Then you can see the European does do a similar thing to the GFS. It brings it up the system out of the south, and what it does with this most likely just brings it off the shore, doesn't do much with it. But definitely if the cold air is enough and the system goes a bit further to the north, we could get a bit of mixing and snow going on. But we also have a pretty large system to the north at this time, producing very strong winds across the Midwest and Upper Plains, so that's something to watch for as well. Windy conditions during the fall are usually unpleasant, and we see some sort of a hybrid system developing very far out. Not really a concern, but again, most likely to change. And then maybe another storm making its way onto the northwest, so we'll have to see. A lot of activity still seems possible. Maybe the GFS did underdo it a bit, right? But generally, we're moving from such an active pattern, 3 storms in less than a week. Anything even significant, considered significant, will still be less than what we just had, as that was just ridiculous. Let's take a look at the Canadian model, since that is another model I like to look at in terms of snowfall. Actually, let's go back and let's take a look at the snowfall amounts, total accumulated snowfall. This is the European model. Let's take this through around here. Notice that it definitely increased snow across portions of Nebraska, Kansas, even several inches of snow, the mountains, and even the plains of Texas and Oklahoma. Look at that, almost 20 inches with the European model. And then out in the northwest, generally 6 inches plus, several locations getting a foot plus. And Yellowstone, Grand Tetons, similar. Just a good dosing of snow. And then look at this, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri. A lot of locations will be seeing like a trace of snow, maybe a dusting, that type of stuff. But, that still counts, I guess, as snow. So be prepared. Don't get caught off guard. And hopefully you could be more prepared for that. But notice we get a pretty large system to the north later on, and that could drop a lot of snow right here across the northern provinces. So that's something to watch for. And look how much snow could fall right there. 108 inches. That's ridiculous. We could see more of that as we push into this winter, and this is just the beginning. Let's take a glance at the Canadian now. I do apologize. This is a bit of a longer video, but I mentioned that we have a lot of stuff to go over. the Canadian does generally a similar thing to what the other models are showing. Notice it doesn't put out almost any snow across the panhandles compared to the European, which does. Similar to what the European is showing and the other models across the Northwest, similar across these locations, a bit less for Kansas, and it extends it a bit further to the south and east, so that could be a bit more of a significant impact for these locations. But you could see here almost nothing, but it does bring it further into Arizona. Northern locations, higher elevations, seeing almost a foot and a half of snow, so that's definitely something different. And take a quick glance at the NAM 12KM, the North American model. This one goes out to 84 hours, so the storm is still ongoing at 84 hours, so this isn't a full extent, but you can see it shows more across, a bit more across Montana, the Northwest. Generally similar to the rest of the models, a combination of the Canadian and the European. And in terms of the radar, as you can see, pretty large system could be developing to the north out of this, one of these bands it shoots out, but still precip going out across the southwest, and you know, it may still kind of react itself, reinforce itself like the other models were doing. And the HERD model, this is a high resolution model that goes out to 36 hours. It's supposedly, you know, very accurate. It sometimes is, sometimes isn't. It has done a relatively good job these past few storms. And notice this large, the snow occurring will be at a very large coverage. A lot of areas getting snow, maybe not that heavy, but a lot of areas seeing snow nonetheless. And if we were to look at the total snowfall just through, I think this ends tomorrow in the evening, Sunday early in the morning. Quite a bit across the Northwest, seeing widespread 1 foot plus and into even the Dakota. So definitely still very unusual for this time of the year. Look at this, I just pulled up the National Weather Service Weather Ready Nation map, zoomed in on the office of Great Falls, I think. Yeah, Great Falls, Montana, and there's actually some blizzard warnings in effect. This is what the webcams look like, so full-on winter scenes across those locations. You can see strong winds will be present with the system as well. 6 to 10 inches tonight, Saturday 3 to 5, 1 to 2 tonight. So a lot of snow occurring for those locations. You could see Nebraska, South Dakota, many locations seeing winter storm warnings. You know, this is quite a bit of snow for these locations at this time of the year. They're even showing 8 to 12 inches across these locations, which honestly, with the cold air present, the snowfall ratios may be even a bit lower or higher than the 10 to 1. And usually a 10 to 1 is associated with early winter storms, but with the cold air, maybe a bit lower. Here's South Dakota. Notice, I want to get through as many weather offices. Winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories a bit away from Rapid City, but this is what the snowfall amounts hold. Very, you know, widespread 3 to 5, even 5 to 8 plus, maybe some locations seeing a foot. And then they're spreading into Colorado. So a lot of action, a lot of activity, and we'll have to see how this unfolds. But as of now, this is it. And I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. Also, look at this right here. We do have a bit of thunderstorm activity going on here, as I mentioned at the beginning. So keep an eye. This storm may be miles and miles away. Still a lot of threats going on. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys on the next episode.